following program has been arranged by the Division of Game and Fish.
Here is the story of the Bluegrass State's great outdoors.
This is Kentucky Afield.
Kentucky Afield.
Welcome to Kentucky Afield.
Kentucky Afield.
More than 50 years. And still fit as a fiddle.
This is Kentucky Afield Radio. This is Ron Rohde, Kentucky Afield's first host back in 1953. Now, I'm proud to present Charlie Baglin.
Spring. Let me spell that. A-T-L-A-S-T. It's here. It's time to get out and play. And Kentucky's a great place to do that. Spring turkey hunting season, spring fishing, the Kentucky Derby, Keeneland horse racing, wildflower walks, camping. The choices are many. We go inside outdoors with the Kentucky Department of Tourism and talk about unbridled fun and adventure next on Kentucky Afield Radio.
Maybe I won't, but I could.
Maybe.
Yes, I won't.
Well, on second thought, yeah.
No.
Mm-mm. Yes.
Arguing with yourself about life jackets? Well, the answer is yes. The answer has always been yes.
What the heck? Yes.
Could be you've just been lucky till now.
Yes.
This boating season, Kentucky conservation officers remind you, your life jackets got your back.
When I'm 15, I'm going to be prom queen. When I'm 15, I'm going to have my own limo and private jet.
15 is a good year. Just ask Kentucky Fish and Wildlife. To honor our 15th anniversary of elk hunting, the new Pick 4 option doubles your chance to take home a trophy.
When I'm 15, I'm going elk hunting.
The Kentucky Elk Draw. Is 2015 your lucky number? Get your elk permit and dream big.
sw.ky.gov.
Welcome to Kentucky Afield Radio. My name is Charlie Baglin, and every season we sit down with the Kentucky Department of Travel, and we talk about getting out and living a little. Things to see and do around Kentucky you probably didn't know about. And so spring travel is our subject now. Scottie Ellis from the Kentucky Department of Travel and Seth Wheat with Kentucky Adventure Tourism are both in the studio with me. First question is, do you miss the snow? Seth?
I do not.
Scottie?
Definitely not.
Well, snow's cool. And I know when we did this show last, fall and talking about cool stuff coming up for winter, we were praising snow, and now we're not.
All things in moderation, I think, is the key to keep in mind here.
And so now we're talking about spring. And spring is my favorite time of year.
It's beautiful in Kentucky. I can't think of anything better. And I believe as long as the warm weather is here, I am happy.
You're happy. I was doing some research before you all came over, and I was looking at the Kentucky Tourism website. And you have this amazing search engine out there. And so I started looking up some things, making notes. Next thing you know, so I've got a full page. I've got enough for a show. And then I realized I hadn't even gotten past April 17th weekend. There's a lot going on.
There is a lot going on. Spring is a big time for us in Kentucky, and there's tons of events. I think everybody's ready to break out of their homes and get out and do something.
Spring in Kentucky. What comes to mind first? What do people want to get out and do?
Be outside, first and foremost. And then that can take, of course, many different forms here in the coming months. But it's just, shake off the cobwebs and relieve some of that cabin fever that's been built up for a lot of people for the past few months.
I think with all respect to people in Pikeville and Paducah and places far flung from Louisville, I'm thinking Keeneland horse races.
That's a big part.
I'm thinking Kentucky Derby and the Kentucky Derby Festival.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm wondering, does that mean just people around the greater Louisville and Lexington areas? How far away do people come just for the horses?
Well, for Keeneland, that is the picturesque track. And I think this year specifically it'll be a really big year because, of course, we have Breeders' Cup there in the fall. The spring meet is April 3rd through 24th. But Keeneland, it's a lot of fun, and people travel from all over the state to take part of that.
How do you find out really where folks are visiting from?
Well, a lot of the time, you can view the traffic on the website, and they see a lot of interest from different areas. But yeah, I mean, when you're out there enjoying your cold drink, you could definitely take a view at all of those license plates. But then there's different ways for people when they're buying tickets and things like that. They enter in their addresses and such, so you can keep count of where people are traveling in from. And then the Kentucky Derby, of course, is huge in Kentucky. Like you mentioned, the Kentucky Derby Festival, it kicks off April 18th with Thunder over Louisville, the biggest fireworks show in the country, and then it goes right into Oaks and Derby, where people come from all over the world because it's the most exciting 2 minutes in sports, and we have it right here.
Thunder over Louisville. I trust both of you have done this.
You know, I've never been to Thunder over Louisville.
You know, when you go, you're going to say, why haven't I been doing this for a long time now?
Well, I'll give you the reason. Is because Thunder over Louisville generally falls in the same weekend as Hillbilly Days in Pikeville. And that's where I grew up.
Really?
So Hillbilly Days for so many years was like a reunion of all of my friends once we left for college and for work.
Sure.
We'd all get back together Hillbilly Days weekend. So I was usually hillbillying it up in eastern Kentucky. But I've got plans to attend in the near future.
It's a full-day event. You have the air show. You have the fireworks show at night. Traffic is a nightmare. But, you know, I've been probably a half dozen times, and I don't mind it a bit. It's just that neat.
And for those of us who live in downtown, we just walk to the show.
You live downtown Louisville?
I do. I'm pretty lucky.
Do you really walk to the show? Look at that. Probably first name basis with everyone at the Galt House. I want to attend the tourism party up whatever floor that is at the Galt House for a prime seat this year. Can I, please?
When you find out, just let me know so I can join you. I haven't been invited yet.
Making that up. But that's nice. You can just walk to it.
And the great thing about the Derby Festival is whether or not you make Thunder, they have a ton of other events like the Great Balloon Fest race, which that's a huge deal, and a lot of families love that. And that's April 25th at Bowman Field. And then if you're a runner like myself, you do the mini and the full marathon every year, and that's also the morning of April 25th. And that is one of the coolest races around because, you know, we talk about Derby and how big that is, and it brings in visitors from all over the world. But this is one of the only chances you can run on the back side of the track. As a runner, that's a pretty cool experience, and you can't have that elsewhere.
I'm wondering, is there a way to study when you bring people into the state for the Derby or for Keeneland or Hillbilly Days? Do they keep coming back? Is that an introduction to Kentucky? Do they keep coming back for more, and they want to expand from there? Do you talk to folks to get this kind of feedback?
I definitely have, and Seth can speak to this as well. Every time that we bring in people to experience Kentucky, whether it be media or just the average person who's chosen this as their destination, they are always surprised about the number of opportunities that the state holds. And they're also very shocked to find out how big Kentucky is and how endless the opportunities are. So whether you have a family who's interested in the racing or they're interested in climbing or paddling, there's something for everyone. So you can really build a unique trip and hit all of those marks and make everyone happy. So we find that when people come in, they are surprised, but they always want a repeat visit.
I was thinking about Thunder. That's kind of an event that Indiana can claim too. It's right over the middle of the Ohio River. And in fact, from Indiana, you have a better view. You get to see the skyline of Louisville if you're on the Indiana shore.
And it's very pretty. And, of course, now between Louisville and Indiana, they have the Big 4 walking bridge, and they've got it lit up at night. And so the two areas have really been partnering on some unique events. So it's a really neat kind of relationship between the two areas. But, yes, the Thunder view from the Indiana side is not a bad one to have.
Okay, I think we have given the Kentucky Derby and Derby Festival and horse racing its due, we hope. Spring in Kentucky, it's not going to be that without those. That first weekend of April, y'all, there's a lot going on. People must really like April 17th, 18th, and 19th, that middle weekend. It's not just for tax deadline purposes either. There's a ton going on. Here's something that caught my eye on your website, Scotty. It was Mark Twain Live, Henderson Fine Arts Center. And the person portraying Mark Twain is Hal Holbrook. And if you're old like me, you remember Hal from, the 70s? What was that police show?
Well, Henderson, I love it. It's my hometown. The Fine Arts Center there, it's wonderful. And so any production they bring in, whether it be the Mark Twain or something else, you're always guaranteed for a good show.
I can't remember the name of that Hal Holbrook show. To Save My Life. Barney Miller. That's it. That's it. Look that up in your history book, Seth.
I will.
Since you're so young.
I'll get the encyclopedia off the shelf. So you can get in there.
Dust it off, and you will learn a lot about TV pop culture from the 70s. But that guy's good, and he does a good job at portraying Mark Twain, just from what I've seen on YouTube and TV. Guy knows his stuff. I see Shaker Village, I'm reading upside down, Hillbilly Days, and more there on that list in front of you, Scotty. We'll have more ideas that you didn't know were so close. Kentucky Spring Travel, when we come back on Kentucky Afield Radio. Back on Kentucky Afield Radio. Charlie Bagman is my name, and in the studio, Seth Wheat and Scotty Ellis, both with the Kentucky Department of Travel. What's up at Shaker Village?
One of the fun events on that first weekend, the April 18th, it's at Shaker Village in Harrodsburg, Kentucky, but it's called Breakfast with the Babies. So this is a fun event if you have some young kids. But annually, Shaker Village hosts a kid-friendly buffet, and it begins each spring, and families can get the hands-on introduction with the newest additions to the farm family. So they have like baby lambs out there and chicks and a lot of different animals, and so the kids can get a close-up view. And then you also learn about their habitat and how Shaker Village cares for the animals and uses them for, for production and sustainability, which Shaker Village is doing a really great job of.
Kid-friendly buffet. That sounds like an adult-friendly buffet, too, because they'll have good stuff.
Well, Shaker Village, I will say, is one of the best dining places around. Their restaurant is fabulous, so any buffet or anything around food that they're putting on will be a good one.
The cornbread there is to die for. And I had here somewhere on my list the... what was it, a cornbread festival? I'll find it here after a while. We'll talk about it. But that cornbread is just killer. What else do you have on your list?
One thing, Paducah, Kentucky, of course, they have the Quilt Museum and the flood wall murals, but they also do an annual Dogwood Trail celebration. And, of course, this varies with the time, but mid-April to the end of April, they have a self-guided driving tour. It's about 12 miles long, and it showcases dogwood, Japanese maple, redbud, and weeping cherry trees. And so you can drive and see those beautiful trees in this time of the year when it really is the prime time to see them.
I see Hillbilly Days going on, April 16 through the 18th. Tell me what's going on there, because you grew up doing that.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's mainly about food, and it's an event to raise money for the Shriners in eastern Kentucky. And, a lot of people get dressed up in their hillbilly garb. They've got their overalls on and their straw hats and their corncob pipes, and they bring out their hillbilly vehicles, and you drive around town. Thousands of people come and descend on downtown Pikeville. The streets are lined with food vendors, craft makers, selling souvenirs and all sorts of locally made, goods. And we've got bluegrass bands at the park. We've got bluegrass bands in front of the courthouse, so there's good music going on no matter where you are. They set up a big carnival with rides for kids and things like that, and it's just a really fun event to eat some food that may or may not be healthy for you, but it sure is delicious.
Yeah.
And, it's just a good time to get together with your friends and your family and, just have a fun weekend out in and around Pikeville.
I think I would like to do that.
I'm not sure where it currently ranks, but usually it's in the list of top 10 festivals in the state. It's been going on for, I think, over 30 years now. I'm not sure the exact number, but it's always a really fun time, and it's just a chance to kind of cut loose and, let your hair down and enjoy yourself.
Do the Hatfields and McCoy's name ever come up in this?
Yeah, it may come up from time to time. And they have a separate Hatfield and McCoy festival in the fall in Pikeville, but you'll certainly see Hatfield and McCoy, representations down there at Hillbilly Days also.
So Hillbilly Days, put that on the calendar for April 16, 17, and 18. Earth Day coming up that same weekend on April 18th. Anything neat? I know that the Salado Wildlife Education Center in Frankfort has an Earth Day celebration going on. Do you know of others around the state, Scotty?
A lot of the state parks will host specific events around Earth Day, and they range from a variety of things. You know, sometimes one of the parks will do something where you can help update one of the recreation areas with paint and such, or you can pick up leaves and help clean up an area of the park. And so I would really recommend checking out parks.ky.gov and searching for Earth Day events, because we're so lucky to have the state parks that we do, and it's a great opportunity to really get out and celebrate those and learn about how you can care for your environment.
That same weekend, this is going on. I'm going to guess that this is... I'm getting in to get Herpetology Weekend and Wildflower Weekend confused. But I'm thinking they're the same weekend. But I know for a fact that same weekend, Herpetology Weekend.
For Natural Bridge is May 9th and May 10th.
That's an opportunity to go out and see creepy crawly things. Someone might call them frogs, lizards, salamanders. Herpetology. What can you tell me about these?
And that is a program that Natural Bridge State Resort Park puts on, and it's one of their most popular programs they do all throughout the year. They've got some great naturalists out at that park who do several different events and programs, but generally the Herpetology Weekend they will sell out and have, full attendance, talk about the creepies and the crawlies, and very informative, and it's very interesting, and they generally have a great crowd. They'll have field trips to the Red River Gorge, stuff for kids to do, stuff for parents to do. It's a family-friendly activity, of course.
Sounds like fun. Well, also in early May, of course, the one event you don't want to miss, the International Barbecue Festival.
Where?
Owensboro.
Yes.
And that's May 8th and 9th. And so that is, if you are a barbecue lover, that is the place to be that weekend.
Is that Mother's Day weekend? May 8th and 9th. That's a Friday, Saturday. And so that's... leading up to Mother's Day. Owensboro Barbecue Fest.
And they'll have, of course, tons of barbecue, but they also have music and a lot of other events. And then you can also check out the new riverfront area in Owensboro, which is exceptional.
I haven't been to Owensboro in quite a while. I should go to do that. Something else going on that weekend, if you're interested in archery. It's going to take place in Louisville at the Expo Center. The National Archery in the Schools program has their national championship. And so I'm thinking this year, I'm just going to throw some numbers out there. 10, 12,000 kids will be here from all over the nation.
It's amazing.
This thing's huge. And if you want to see kids having a good time and competing for national attention, that's the place to go. The National Archery in the Schools National Championship. It's in Louisville at the Exposition Center that weekend.
That's definitely a growing sport for a lot of kids in a lot of different schools, and Kentucky's really been at the forefront of that too. We attended that national championship 2 years ago, I think, and to see this line of students, they fill up the entire wing of the Kentucky Expo Center. They all shoot at once, and it's really amazing.
If you've been to the boat show, or if you've been to the Kentucky State Fair and been in there for the whatever they have set up, the photographs and arts and crafts, but that's Hall A, B, and C.
Yeah.
Plus some little other side hall, and then all down to the North Hall, they have archery going. It's just mind-boggling how huge this range is.
Yeah.
I want you to see that. You can't think spring in Kentucky without thinking wildflowers. The one I picked up here on Carter Cave's Wildflower Pilgrimage, that's in Olive Hill, Kentucky. Was that Grayson County over toward Ashland?
Carter County.
Carter County, yeah. Sure. Carter Cave's Wildflower Pilgrimage. There has to be any number of wildflower events going on in April. Which ones jump to mind?
The state parks, again, are a great source for wildflower events. A lot of times you can see an event that is set up with the park's naturalist, and so that way you can have a guided trail tour, and then they can explain the different types of flowers that you're seeing, the lifespan, etc. And so they're all across the state, and there's different ones across the state, and so that's really a great resource to use, because I will be honest, if I were out there looking for them by myself, I'd be a little lost without the naturalist.
Yeah, the state park naturalists, they know their way around when it comes to wildflowers. But there are a number of those out there, and the one we just mentioned here, that same weekend, I tell you, middle of April, Carter Cave's Wildflower Pilgrimage. We've gotten off on my list a little bit. What else is on yours?
One of the things that we're promoting this spring are a number of cycling events that are going on in Kentucky. This is the third year for this combination of events that have been dubbed the Kentucky Century Challenge. Do you know what a century ride is, Charlie?
No, this is bicycling?
Bicycling. This is on-road bicycling.
Not trail bike, not the mountain bike.
This is the skinny tires, guys in really good shape, on-road bicyclists. What the Century Challenge does is it takes several bicycle events that were already in existence. The Redbud Ride in London, Kentucky.
Okay.
The Horsey 100 in Georgetown. That's Memorial Day weekend. The Preservation Pedal in Frankfort. That's the weekend of June 20th. And the Hub City Tour in Elizabethtown. That happens in mid-September. Then you're eligible to receive the special edition Century Challenge jersey. If they complete 3 out of 4, they're able to purchase a jersey at cost. If they do all 4 rides, they're able to get a free jersey. So that means they have to ride at least 400 miles in the state of Kentucky. But these guys that are really big into cycling, they love those jerseys, and they love being able to use one to show off what they've done and where they've ridden, things like that. So it's a really big deal for them, and they really enjoy the design of it and things like that.
And you can't just pick these things up at the souvenir shop.
Exactly.
You have to earn them.
You got to earn it. That's a big deal for these people. And so it's also a way to ensure that these people who, like I said, were coming to do maybe one ride, we can get them back maybe 3 or 4 times throughout the year. So they're going to keep coming back and seeing more of the Central Kentucky region. So that's something we're really excited about. Like I said, it's the 3rd year for the Century Challenge, and you can find all the information and all the registration info on our website at KentuckyTourism.com/outdooradventure.
I think that would be a feather in the cap of adventure tourism.
Absolutely.
We got to get the music playing, but we'll be back with more, including the world's best cornbread on Kentucky Afield Radio. We are back on Kentucky Afield Radio, and turkey hunting starts this weekend, April 18th through May 10th. If you've never been, ask someone who hunts to take you. You can get details, learn more about it, places to go in Kentucky at the Kentucky Fish and Wildlife website, fw.ky.gov. Time now for our fishing report.
This is Jeff Crosby with the Central District Fishing Report. Lake temperatures are running in the low 60s. Bass are moving shallow in preparation for the spawn. Many bass can be caught on spinner baits, lipless crankbaits, pig and jig combinations, or a variety of plastic baits fished around shoreline cover, especially in and adjacent to spawning coves. Crappie, additionally, are moving shallow in preparation for the spawn at many of our area lakes. These fish can be caught on live minnows or casting crappie jigs around shoreline cover. Finally, don't forget about our fins program. Many of these lakes have been stocked over the recent months with channel catfish and trout. Check out the department's website at fw.ky.gov for a complete list of lakes in your area. Grab a pole and enjoy some great spring fishing.
This is Kevin Fry with your Eastern Area Fisheries Report. Water temps were good this week. Getting white bass reports coming in from some area tailwaters below Buckhorn, Dewey, and Fish Trap dams. Some were being caught. Johns Creek, upstream of Dewey Lake, is producing fair to good catches of white bass on plastic jigs and roadrunner type baits. Areas with rock producing the better action. Largemouth bass fishing is really good in shallow water. Murky colored waters producing more fish. All types of baits are working, such as spinnerbait, cranks, jigs, and plastic worms. Catfishing reports are fair to good at Dewey Lake. Most fish are being caught near shoreline areas. Some anglers at Yatesville Lake using minnows as bait for catching bluegill, crappie, and bass at present.
Hi, this is Eric Cummins with your Southwest Kentucky Fishing Report. Barren River tailwaters has been fair for hybrids, whites, and yellow bass. Also, channel cats have been caught on a variety of different bait. There's also some musky activity reported there. Green River tailwaters have been good for channel cats, crappie, and some walleye, and also some musky action there as well. For some small lake early bass fishing, give Metcalf County Lake and Mill Creek Lake and Tompkinsville a go. Also some small lake for some crappie action, Marion County Lake and Cheney Holloway Lake in Warren County. For some red ear and bluegill action on some small lakes, give Lebanon City Lake in Marion County, West Fork Drakes, and Simpson County a try. As always, good luck and good fishing. And be sure you wear your life jacket.
We'll talk about cornbread this half hour, and a cornbread that just might take you back to school. It all enters the conversation after the break.
Did you grab the mayonnaise?
We've got to meet Bob and Cindy at the little store to buy some lunch stuff. Where's John?
He said he left something in his room. He's coming. Did you grab the mayonnaise?
What do you think? Ham, chips? I put that mustard we like in the cooler.
Did you grab the mayonnaise? Oh, here he comes.
Good. He grabbed his life jacket. I should have remembered that.
Did you grab the mayonnaise?
Cupcakes. I want those yellow cupcakes.
Tell your phone.
Boaters are busy, on and off the water. That's why Kentucky conservation officers remind you, your life jacket's got your back.
When I'm 15, I'm going to be prom queen. When I'm 15, I'm going to have my own limo and private jet.
15 is a good year. Just ask Kentucky Fish and Wildlife. To honor our 15th anniversary of elk hunting, the new Pick 4 option doubles your chance to take home a trophy.
When I'm 15, I'm going elk hunting.
The Kentucky Elk Draw is 2015 your lucky number. Put your name in the hat by April 30th to dream big.
SW.ky.gov.
This is Kentucky Afield Radio. My name is Charlie Baglin, and we're back with Scottie and Seth from Kentucky Tourism and Kentucky Adventure Tourism. Another half hour of timely travel ideas within our state. But first, I want to get in a plug for the Salado Wildlife Education Center in Frankfort. If anyone is visiting the Floral Clock or part of the Bourbon Trail, seeing the state capitol, there's some things going on at the Department of Fish and Wildlife's Salado Wildlife Education Center. Serpent Day is on Saturday the 25th of April. Earth Day, of course, on the 25th of April. On May 16th, the Tim Farmer Archery Classic. Find out more about that online. World Turtle Day. Do you know that?
I did not know
World Turtle Day. 23rd of May. And in the Salado Sampler, that's a great thing to do to help raise some money for sampling beer, wine, bourbon. You can find out more, they tell me, at Salado. So you can email salado@ky.gov.
The Salado Center is a great place. If you've never had a chance to even just go out and walk around, see all the things they have to offer, I'd highly recommend it.
May 30th, and I'm going to guess that these go on about every full moon, these moonlight canoe trips. Have you been?
I have not done one myself, but I've got a couple here on my list that I was going to talk about. Where's yours at?
I'm looking at one at May 30th at Pennyrile State Resort Park.
Yeah.
So is it there on that lake?
Yes.
I'm guessing they try to time these around full moons. On weekends, or does it just happen?
They will do it for several weekends throughout the spring and summer months, and generally there will be a few different parks that offer similar trips. I know they do them at Jenny Wiley State Resort Park in Prestonsburg, there at Dewey Lake, and they will even do an overnight moonlight canoe trip, I believe, where you can camp out on the lake shore, and then you come back the next day.
Sweet.
Yeah, so that's really popular, and Carter Caves, again, is going to be doing some paddle excursions on Tigard's Creek in Carter County. So a lot of canoeing and kayaking opportunities coming up at state parks. But the moonlight trips are definitely a popular one.
I have never done one. Definitely take a life jacket.
Sure.
Let me read you what it says here on your website, Scottie and Seth. We will use an almost full moon, so that gets me to believing it's going to be probably the weekend closest to a full moon.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So still you're not having it on a Wednesday kind of thing. and go out and see what creatures are using the lake at night. I don't know what's using the lake at night. I guess something's out there slithering about.
I guess you got to go and find out.
Trips will last a couple of hours. Bring water, bring bug spray, bring a flashlight, bring your sense of adventure.
Sounds like a fun time.
Doubt you will need a coat.
Probably not.
That sounds like a fun trip. Moonlight's got to be clear. And speaking of full moons, something I always bring up, I don't have the calendar in front of me, but when it is a full moon, anytime this spring, summer, winter, fall, the Moonbow weekends or the Moonbow events down at Cumberland Falls. And there we're seeing. Have either of you seen the Moonbow?
It was many years ago, but I have seen the Moonbow. But, they just ranked it last year, one of the South's 7 wonders. That we actually had quite a few on the list. So there were only 7 wonders, and the Moonbow was on there, as well as Natural Bridge and then Mammoth Cave. But the Moonbow, it really is beautiful. Now, you have a gorgeous photo.
I got lucky one night and snapped a couple of really nice shots of the Moonbow. It's an April Moonbow. But, yeah, it's lovely. Seth, have you been down to see it?
I have. I saw it for the first time last March, a year ago. We attempted to see it in February, and we had some clouds and some rain, so that weekend was a bust. And it just so happened that the full moon fell on a weekend again in March, and so we went back down there then, and we were able to see it. I was with my girlfriend, and she has a nice camera, and she was able to get some good photographs of it. And it was interesting to me. A lot of times the photographs are better than what you can see just with the naked eye.
They are. Absolutely. Yeah. They're night and day different, what you see with the naked eye. One time I went into the souvenir shop right there by the falls, and I was talking to the lady in there, and I said, do you have any postcards of the actual Moonbow? And, of course, if you go to the falls very often, if you're there during the day, there's so much mist bellowing up off those falls and the sun shining, you're going to see rainbows all the time anyway. That's common. And she showed me, here's one right here. And I said, that's not the Moonbow, that's a rainbow. I said, no, it really is. So I looked into it, and I went out with my camera like your girlfriend did. You really can see the colors of the rainbow. You can see the color of the rocks and shadows. It's amazing what a pretty nice camera will bring out, where standing there in your naked eye, you just see this white arch.
Yeah, I think that's it. That's it. That's it.
It's just a white arch if you're just looking at it in the mist in the night. Cool to see, a white rainbow, if you will.
There were a few times I thought I could make out, or I'm sure I could make out the color differences, but that kind of came and went.
You got to want to do it.
The clarity of the moon and the cloud cover, and it was certainly more consistent looking at it through the camera.
The photo.
I also want to bring up free fishing days. The first weekend of June, for anyone who wants to come into the state and fish, anyone who lives here and wants to fish. If you live here and you want to call your friends or family to come in, and one of the things you'll do when you get here is fish, and you don't have to go through the rigmarole of buying a license and making sure you have it with you. That first weekend of June is free weekend, no license, no permit. So that would take into account if you're going to fish for trout. You don't have to fool with getting a license and a permit. So it's just for that weekend. All the other limits would still apply. How many you can take, the size of the fish, and what have you. But you just don't have to buy a license. And so the weekend, June 6th and 7th, the first Saturday, Sunday of June in 2015 will be free fishing weekend.
That's the first weekend of June.
National Fishing and Boating Week kicks that off.
One fun event that is really neat to see here in Kentucky, of course, blue herons. They're beautiful to see out and about. And one opportunity is the wildlife cruises to the Blue Heron Rookery. And this is through Shaker Village. But on May 2nd, May 9th, and May 16th, you can take a 2-hour ride, and you ride on the Dixie Belle River boat, and so you get to experience the up-close view of a breeding colony during their resting.
So that's on the Kentucky River.
Yes, so Shaker Village does this event, and it's May 2nd, May 9th, and May 16th, and you get to ride on the Dixie Belle River boat, and you can check out Shaker Village website for that.
Is that where the Kentucky River Palisades are, like upriver from there?
It is. Yeah, just right upriver from where they dock the Dixie Belle at.
beautiful. I don't know where all this trip is going to go, but any part of that is lovely.
A gorgeous area. In Shaker Village, they do such a good job with their events. So if you're looking for a more organized type event to see the blue heron, this is really the opportunity for you to take. You want to make sure to bring your binoculars, as those will not be provided. But it really will give you an up-close view. And the great thing is you'll have people there who can talk to you about the colony and the nesting. And so you can really have an understanding of how that takes place.
We had talked about cornbread earlier, and the subject of Shaker Village came up because they have among the world's best cornbread, in my opinion, on par with the cornbread that they fixed in the middle 70s at Carroll County Middle School, where I was in the 6th, 7th,
and that was some good stuff.
It was excellent. They'd make it these huge, like, cake sheets. You know, you have these big birthday party type cakes. Instead, they would make it in cornbread instead of a cake. Cornbread, you just slice it up and pile on the butter, and man, it was excellent. They knew they were the best. They could have won the prize. I had here on my list the Mill Springs Mill Annual Cornbread Festival in Monticello, Kentucky. I wonder if they're as good as Carroll County Middle School.
It might be. You should go and taste test all of those offers.
They need somebody down there to finally decide that.
You seem to have a level of expertise in this, Charlie, and I think you'd be a welcome addition to the festival.
I want to shake the hand of whoever married the hot dog with cornbread.
Hey,
that is a staple of Kentucky. I love it. Do you eat corn dogs?
I do not.
Doesn't eat corn dogs. Seth, do you eat corn dogs?
Yeah, of course I eat corn dogs.
My wife and I, we make a pilgrimage to every carnival we can, state fair, county fair, just for the corn dogs.
It's
everything else is
a seasonal thing. You know, I want a corn dog in the spring and the summer. Not all the time, but you definitely need a few a year to keep you in check. Yeah.
My wife and I, we go to the Kentucky State Fair. It doesn't matter that 3 Dog Night is giving a free concert. We'll go to that, but that's secondary to the corn dogs.
I think I'm the worst Kentuckian when it comes to food. I am a vegetarian, and I have celiac disease, so I eat nothing exciting.
If you ever get past either of those, it's worth
the corn dog.
It's worth the risk to eat the corn dog. Glob on, don't just pour on, don't just dab on, glob it on the yellow mustard.
The yellow mustard, that's correct.
It is exceptional. So this is going on. Are you familiar with the Mill Springs Mill? That's at Monticello, sponsored by the Monticello Women's Club in partnership with the Mill Springs Battlefield Association. Mill Springs Mill Annual Cornbread Festival.
You doing it, Scotty?
11 a to 1 p. So it's a 2-hour event.
So you've got a quick chance, 2 hours, to get in there and taste all of the cornbread.
You'll have time to taste them all.
You enjoy pinto beans, onions, relish, and mill-ground cornmeal hoe cakes.
You think about a traditional, baked cornbread that's a little thicker that you slice out of your pan. Hoe cakes, they're thinner, almost like
a pancake?
Like a pancake. Absolutely like a pancake.
Variety of desserts going in a beautiful setting overlooking historic Mill Springs, I'm reading here. An alternative hot dog and fixins lunch is also available.
And that's on May 23rd, 2015.
That's the best place to go for lunch, May 23rd, 2015.
I think the larger theme here is Kentucky is blessed with a number of festivals. For anything you can imagine, you'll probably find a festival for it somewhere in Kentucky in the spring or summer months.
The topic today is Kentucky Travels, back with our final few with Spring Adventure on Kentucky Afield Radio. Kentucky Afield Radio, Charlie Bagman here, Scotty Ellis, Seth Wheat. We have barely scratched the surface, so this would be a good time to talk about your search engine on your website.
So you go to KentuckyTourism.com and you can click on events and things to do, and the event calendar will pop up. And the great thing is, if you're coming for a certain weekend, you can search by specific dates or the keyword item on the website. That search engine is fabulous. So you can type in the keywords of your interest and it will pop right up. And so like Seth said, these events, they're so great. Like in early June, there's the Beer Cheese Festival, which is a really big Kentucky staple in Winchester. And so if you were interested in beer cheese, you can type that up and the Beer Cheese Festival would pop up and you can make your plans. And another great thing to do is, especially during the spring and everyone's using social media, capture your experiences and share those, whether it be on Instagram or Facebook and Twitter, and use hashtag TravelKY. You might see one of your photos pop up on our site, and we'll, of course, give you credit. But we love to see what people are out experiencing in Kentucky, because everyone's experiences are different. And to share those stories and those beautiful photographs, it really is a great way to showcase the offerings of the state.
It is. Reading reviews, I don't care if you're going on Amazon.com, when you read what other people have read and when you see what others have seen, that makes me want to see it too. Mm-hmm. There's one here called the Mountain Laurel Fest, May 23, 24, and 25, Pineville.
It originated in 1931, and of course it's nestled right in the Appalachian foothills of Bell County, and it really captures that southern feel and charm that, you know, kind of reigns throughout that area. But it's a really neat event to take part in because they really have stuck true to those traditions. College roommate of mine lives in Pineville. I should visit him that weekend. You should, and take part and take photos and share them with everyone.
Yeah. The amphitheater they have there at the park, where they host a lot of the events for the Laurel, and I've never been to the festival itself, so I've got to go too. But I have been to the amphitheater there, and it's one of the most unique places I've probably ever seen at any of our state parks.
You're in the adventure tourism side of things, so that could mean canoeing, kayaking, hiking, mountain biking. There's a list of things.
Anything outside and fun. That's what we deal with.
Anything outside and fun is that's the job I want.
That's what I was saying. That's not a bad job.
The last thing I wanted to ask, feel free to bring up things that I know I've overlooked, is trains that go through Kentucky. These scenic railways, I know there's one in Woodford County, one in Bardstown. Big South Fork has a train.
It's a really popular one. Sure.
Talk to me about what you can see and do on trains.
The first one, the one I'm most familiar with that you just mentioned, was the Big South Fork National Scenic Railway down in Stearns, Kentucky. And the community of Stearns is a really neat place, and they are one of our potential Kentucky trail towns. Last time I was here, I talked to you about our trail towns. We're trying to develop these communities to better serve travelers who come here to do outdoor recreation, providing them with things they need, places to eat, places to stay, things like that. But anyway, the Big South Fork Scenic Railway travels from Stearns down into the Big South Fork. And the Big South Fork is a national scenic and recreation area that we share with the state of Tennessee. And it is absolutely one of my favorite places in Kentucky. If you've never been, I'd highly recommend you make that trip because there's so much to see and do there. You can hunt, you can fish, you can paddle, hike, horseback ride, mountain bike, whatever you want. The Scenic Railway takes you down to an old mining camp that they've restored that was operated in the middle part of the 20th century and eventually was closed down, and it's called the Blue Heron Mining Camp, and they've eventually, since then restored it so you can almost walk back in time. So you get a little history, you can get a little adventure. They've since outfitted the train to be able to shuttle people on bikes down into the Big South Fork. You can put your bike on the front of the train, and you ride the train down in, and you can bike back out.
Yeah.
So that's a pretty cool thing they've got going on now. And I think they do special themed trips around holidays, around Halloween and Christmas and Valentine's Day. So that's the one I'm most familiar with. But there's several dinner trains around Central Kentucky and stuff like that.
The Bardstown and Lexington dinner train is a really big one, and it's really neat. You get the beautiful views as you ride through, but they also do events like if you want to do a bourbon tasting, they'll have a bourbon tasting dinner. Or now the craft breweries are getting really big. Lexington has a Brewgrass Trail centered around beers specific to that market, and so they'll have all of the beers available on the train. And so those are really great ones to check out. They also do the murder mystery dinners.
Yeah,
if you're looking for that.
I just saw one here on the web. It's sort of like the Murder on the Orient Express, except it's the My Old Kentucky Dinner Train's murder mystery out of Bardstown. So that sounds fun.
Those events are a lot of fun. They have people keep coming back for more.
Let me read you what it says on the web. This fun-filled excursion will include a 2.5-hour train ride through Kentucky's countryside, 4-course meal, and a theater production of a murder mystery going on the train. I'm glad I asked that. I've always been enthused with trains, but I haven't ridden them all that much. But
I think a lot of people would say that same thing. There's a lure to trains, and they were such a big part of our history for so many years, and a lot of us don't have a first-hand experience with trains maybe, but we have the chances to now with things like this.
What else? What did I miss before we close?
We've got some camping deals coming up at our state parks.
All right.
The entire month of April through May 21st, you get a buy one, get one camping deal Sunday through Thursday at any of our state park campgrounds.
So what's that mean, buy one, get one?
So if I purchase one night's camping, I get the second night for free.
All right.
Sunday through Thursday, that goes through May 21st.
If you stay just one night, you don't get it half price. You have to stay two nights at least.
Yeah. And if you book online, use the promo SPRING15. In addition to that, Camper Appreciation Weekend is April 24 through 26. And it's the same type of deal. If you buy the first night's camping for Friday night, you get Saturday nights free. But that's the only deal that's offered on the weekend. The other ones are during the week.
And you do this at parks.ky.gov.
Parks.ky.gov.
That it?
I think that's good.
We had fun. I'm looking forward to spring in Kentucky.
Follow us on social media.
How do we find you on these places?
So if you go to KentuckyTourism.com, all of the sites are listed there, and you can just really search Kentucky Outdoor Adventure or Kentucky Tourism on any of those sites, and then also use the hashtag TravelKY.
Very good. All right. Thanks a million.
Thanks, Charlie.
Thank you.
Kentucky, the grass is always greener where it's blue, I've always said. Get out and see it. No excuses. We are out of time. This is Charlie Baglin inviting you to join us in a week, and we will go inside outdoors again right here on Kentucky Afield Radio.